Hello and welcome to my Elite Dangerous, the day-to-day grind. Prime time grind all the time. And it is April the 29th. We were told about a week ago from Frontier that on April 30th that they would create the snapshot from live. And what you have on April 30th will carry to Beta 2 for the fleet carriers. We're going to be crossing the 9.7, which should be enough for Beta 2. But we've been grinding a little bit just to make sure that we have more than enough for the Beta 2 testing. I really enjoyed Beta 1. Got to have a fleet carrier, and I've added a complete fleet since then. We have a set of 4 Pythons. We have a cargo version, a travel version, a mining version, and a planetary version. And I've also created a version of those with the cutters. So I have 4 of those and the same: cargo, travel, planetary, and mining. And I've modded them to try to have them like my set of Pythons. So we've used up probably, I would think, about 70 to 80% of our materials on those ships, and there might be some tweaking from now and then, but I think they look pretty good. Now, after the 30th, so after tomorrow, we'll probably go down to Dav's Hope and Jameson Crash Site and try to add some materials. Now, the materials that I had before the fleet probably took months and many times to Dav's Hope and Jameson Crash Site. So just one trip is not going to fill it all back up, but I don't know if I'll need as much in the future, except for the experimental. What I want to do in June, when I'm able to purchase the fleet carriers, I want to make a tour of the engineers and go around to each one of them with all the ships and take the ships one by one to each of the engineers and mod them completely out with experimentals. So I contribute the engineering of my modules to part of the reason where I'm able to handle the pirates the way I can, and situations like where you come in too close from Super Cruise and you're right on top of the station. And I've even run into the station before, pretty hard, and I usually only lose 1 to 1.5 rings of my shields. And when I'm attacked, when I've been knocked out of Super Cruise during an interdiction, all I've had to do is maximize my speed, boost as often as I can, and use the heat sinks to cool down the ship, since the pirates mainly use thermal weapons, and they do that to keep you from getting back into Super Cruise. But with the heat sinks, you can normally get back into Super Cruise. Or if you come in to a system that has 2 stars that are real close together, sometimes it heats up your ship so much you can't get away from the stars. Well, with heat sinks, you're able to do that, so that really helps. So the engineering is very important, having the engineers modify your ships and to do the remote workshop. Now, what I have found most of the time, it takes 2 trips to the engineer in a short period of time to get the blueprints to stick. So the first time I go and I say pin blueprint, and it says it's pinned, I go to the main screen of the engineer and go back in, and it says it's pinned, but if I go by a nearby station, it says it's not pinned. So I have to return, and usually on the second time of doing it, it does take and it's pinned. So just be aware of that. So if we had the fleet carrier there, if that happened, it really wouldn't be any big deal because all our ships are there, and we just go out to the fleet carrier that's orbiting the same planet that the engineer is based on. So it would be pretty simple. So that's really my goal in June, is to do the engineer tour and to park it between Dav's Hope and Jameson Crash Site and just hit both of them and collect materials, and maybe we go out to a place that has double or triple hotspots and mine asteroids, and we have all we need right there in the fleet carrier. So I'm real big on the fleet carrier. I've also talked about the space legs and the planetary personal bases and landing on atmospheres. Well, that information is coming from a leak that started last year and then continues to show up throughout this year. And the leaker says it'll be in December, but we have heard from Frontier that the largest upgrade to Elite Dangerous for content will be in December. So it kind of all plays together. We can see that that's probably what's coming in December, but we always need to keep that in mind, that it does come from a leaker, and maybe Frontier is trying to throw the leaker off and things like that. So, but we'll continue to keep our ears and eyes open for any kind of news we can get from Frontier, and I'll bring it to you as I find out. I get emails from Frontier on the Steam site, not just in the forum, but when you go through Steam to connect to Elite Dangerous, it gives you information there too, and in the Frontier forums. I scan over those, and also in the Reddit posts. So just looking for information constantly about upcoming content, because content is king in Elite Dangerous. Especially when they go a while without any content, we're all starving for content. So thank all of you that have subscribed. Be sure to look to the bottom right of the video and you'll see that subscribe button. Please press that, and it helps me with YouTube. Doesn't cost you anything, and you're notified when I create more of these videos, where there's over 600 of them just since January. So it's all new content of the engineers and materials and the material traders and the Guardian surface site, where you get the Guardian FSD booster blueprints, and the Thargoid surface site, where there's scavengers and you collect ARXs if you kill the scavengers. Now, I didn't kill them while I was there because my combat ranking is only competent at 18%. It's not my strong area. But I did go there and collect some meta alloys for Felicity Farseer, the FSD engineer. And so those are all exciting. And while in a station getting ready to leave, there was an anaconda in front of us, and the station just opened fires inside the station on this anaconda. And so big fireball and lots of drama right in front of us in the station. So you should watch that one too. And there's pirate attacks. So go to my YouTube channel at GFM_RDG. You can look under the video to the left and see the YouTube channel. Click on that and you can go to the search within the YouTube channel, and you can type in pirate attack, and there's several of those, and the last one by date. One pops out of Super Cruise when I'm in auto docking. It pops in right in front of me, and because of auto docking has the acceleration so high, I just slam into the back of him. And so you can see that, and there's several others like that where they come in out of Super Cruise right at the station. And there's many others. Like I said, over 600. And what I try to do is just show you my day-to-day grind of what I do in the game to collect 9.7 billion, to have 4 pretty well decked out cutters and pythons. Those are my favorite. Large ship is the cutter, medium ship is the python, and I'm eyeing a few small ships, super long range jump builds and things like that. So we might add up to 4 more ships at some point, probably while we're in beta 2. Opposite of that, I usually do some live videos too, so that would be in live. So they would be available in June when I'm able to purchase the fleet carrier to carry my fleets. So we need to get going. So we cross that 9.7. I think it's plenty. It's 3.4 billion more than I had in beta 1, so I feel pretty good about it. And I don't think we'll have to grind in beta 2. So, but we want to collect as many credits as we can before the snapshot in April, on April the 30th, which will be tomorrow as of this date. And my guess is it's going to be noon UTC time or 6 a.m. Central time is when they're going to take that snapshot, but it could be end of day, which is about 6 p.m. Central time, or 23:59 UTC time. So we'll be grinding today and tomorrow and just see where we end up in beta 2. And sometimes they'll say, well, you'll find out in beta 2. When you get into beta, you'll find out. So we'll find out what our balance is at that time based on what we grinded. So also look under the video. There's a description. If you go down to the bottom of that, there's ways to donate to our channel. The costs are very high, especially storage costs to hold all these videos. And I've been recording constantly. I don't produce a video on everything, but I try to pick out, like right now we're doing 100 million increment. Well, I bring you another video because I'm trying to grind as much as I can until we get through April 30th. So but be sure to join me. Be sure to press that subscribe button. I'm still far away from the minimum subscribers YouTube requires before we get support, and so I need all the help I can get, and donations would really help us with all the costs, the audio costs and the production costs and the computer cost and the storage cost and all of that. So if you could help me out there, I'd really appreciate it. So let's get going to Sothis Mining and pick up another load and deliver that and cross that 9.7 billion as part of our grind. Sys left. We don't have a destination, so we'll pick a destination, which we pick Sothis Mining because it's an extraction station. So it's precious metals, and that usually brings out the pirates, and if it brings out the pirates, the rewards skyrocket. So we can make close to what the super asteroid miners can. I'm not a great asteroid miner, but I can run some missions and put up with interdictions. I have two videos on 7 interdictions. So put in 7x interdiction, and you'll see those videos if you search in my YouTube channel. And there's also a 6 interdiction even in the cutter, and that is real drama. And that's the first video that I had created, because I was told when I said I had 6 to 7 interdictions, they said, no, you're just lying. And so I produced that video to prove that I did go through that many. And then it was, oh, you're stacking missions. Well, that's not what you said in the beginning. You know, you just said that no one's ever seen 6 interdictions. So I show that somebody has had 6 and now 7 interdictions. So I haven't seen 8. And yes, they said, well, you'll create another video if there's 8. Yeah, I will. If I get 8, you'll see it. So stay with me, and there's always something happening in Elite Dangerous. You never know. So let's get going. Also caught on video, it's called a Guardian Skimmer. It's not the Sentinel, it's a skimmer. And what I'm told is that's very rare to see one of those, and it shoots missiles like the sentries do, but it looks different.
Landing gear retracted.
Docking clamps retracted. Regulate speed until outside the exclusion zone.
So in the search, put Guardian Skimmer, and you'll see that video. It was of a crashed ship. Came upon that crashed ship, and the Guardian Skimmer showed up and started launching missiles.
Frameshift drive charging.
And part of creating these videos is to bring you the latest information that I have on content. And so be sure to watch our videos as they come out, and you'll find the latest
4,
that I know.
3, 2, 1, engage.
I do have a series on the beginnings, Elite Dangerous, the beginnings. Goes from the tutorials when you first start through doing your first cargo missions, and even doing some planetary exploration as a beginner with beginning ships, and the Pilot Federation. Yeah, looks like we're going to get an interdiction in Sothis. We don't get as many interdictions in Sothis, but we do get some. Most of them are in Ceos. Is this left? I like taking them on here in open space, so shortly I'll slow down and turn toward Sothis mining, which will cause the interdiction to begin. So we'll get him out of the way before we get too close to Sothis mining. And if you just move erratically, that usually causes them to activate, because they don't just go away, so you just have to take care of them. That's what I like about modded ships, because it's easier to handle them with the modded modules on your ship. That's why I promote the engineers. I think it's very important. Okay, so we took care of that one, so we'll get back on our task at hand. Now another one can show up, like there's one there that could be. We can turn toward and just see if he shows up behind us, instead of just kind of staying off to the side. And in the comms up there, usually to the top left, they'll usually introduce themselves, but they don't have to. It's what pops in right behind your ship. But we're fixing to turn more toward the Sothis mining, so yeah. And yes, I'm not creating as many videos, just through April 30th, and then we'll start up on a full set. I would like to have up to 18 billion by June, because after spending everything it takes for the fleet carrier, which will probably be at least 8 billion, it would be nice to have 10 billion again. It's not an absolute necessity, but it is nice to have. I moved down away from the planet because of the gravitational pull, which slows you down. And if I'm interdicted, I like being away. Now we do have one that is sort of behind us that could interdict us. Sys view. Sys view. Now my Oculus Rift gets out of alignment, so that's what that view command is. I have to come in hot. Sys left. Sys left. As they try to beat me
Docking request granted.
to the request. Ships follow me around the galaxy. Now they do it also at the large stations, but of course at the large stations there's plenty of landing pads, so they're not as much of a nuisance. But in the small, where there's only one medium landing pad, it is more of a nuisance.
Landing gear deployed.
And that Viper MK4 or MK3 or whatever, that's one of the ships on my radar because of its speed. It's like the fastest speed without engineering.
Docking successful. Engines disengaged.
And with engineering, you know, it could be really nice. So it might be one that I pick up. Okay, sys right. Sys right. Okay, I don't have anything on board. Sys left. Sys left. Yeah, voice attack seems to get worse over time. We have 16 missions stacked right now. We do that because there's quite a few times we come back to Sothis mining and there's no additional missions. So if I stack them, then I have plenty until I get ready to do something different. Okay, Brunel. See which one is probably the best to go with right now. See, they give you 24 hours and we still have like 17 hours on that Brunel. So it's not worrisome. New Dawn is where we have most of our missions. So we'll probably do another New Dawn right now. And most of the time, the oldest ones are toward the top. Now, before you're going to see the missions that I get to see, like gold for 180 is about 8.2 million, and palladium for 180 is 10.5. So you'd rather have the palladiums if you can get them. If you can't, gold is a good second. And you'll see over here that the reputation bar is maxed out. And I also have some of the 2s and 3s, like this one right here, or deliver 3 for 1.1 base per unit. It's hard to beat those, but you don't get those unless you do these donates. So as you're building your reputation, donate to each of the factions and you'll start seeing these deliver 2s and deliver 3 units for over 1 million. Babbage, we'll take that one. Now, one thing I don't like, you're fixing to see a mission critical message, and watch. I'll move down like if I'm watching the
incoming mission critical message.
I don't like that. you can be inside it can really mess you up if you're trying to pick missions. So it's part of that obstacle course that Frontier has created. Is this right? Okay, I've just picked one of 174, so I still have a little over, like 106 left. And we've picked here, let's see, there's another one. And we have much less available. So we should full, yeah.
Cargo hold at maximum capacity.
Okay, that's fine. So I think we've looked at all of these. I try not to go with the silver or the gallite, just because they don't pay as much, even as gold does. I'm not going to pick that one right now because I'm already over 15. Your maximum is 20 missions that you can carry at any contracts that you can have at one time. And Rutil's even worse than silver, so definitely try not to pick those. I do if I've been away for like a day and I come back and I have no missions, I'll pick some of those just to get it started. But we really want these palladiums. And I'm just delivering to 3 stations in COs. Okay, so let's get going, and we need to pick our destination. Sys left. Sys left. Yeah, if I didn't pause long enough between talking and giving the commands, that's part of the problem. So it wants a longer pause. Now I like New Dawn too because you have more space between the orbit and the planet, and we get more missions for them. So be sure to press that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything. You'll be notified when I produce videos, and it'll help me with YouTube eventually when I get up to their minimum subscriber count. I do appreciate all the subscribers that have subscribed.
Landing gear retracted. Ship released. Engines engaged.
And I probably won't
Frameshift
create
drive
another
charging.
video until we get to 9.8 billion. Because I have to squeeze in videos between all the other things that I have to
4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
But dealing with all the difficult things just takes practice. You'll get it if you practice enough.
Incoming mission critical message.
To get all the content and be able to handle the interdictions, you can't really be a casual player. You're going to have to give it a little more time. Now, after you grind some credits and mod your ships and all of those kind of things, then you can be more of a casual player. I do use a VR headset. I have the Oculus Rift S. It's a 4K headset. I'm eyeing some 8K headsets, but it would take much upgrading my computer and about $650 more dollars. The HP reverb looks really good because of price. There's some $1,000 ones that are probably even better, but the costs might make them prohibitive. Sis left. Sis left. We got another one behind us. Now, if I was more into combat, I'd use the HOTUS that I have. But I like the wireless controllers. And I'm not as much into combat. I can make most of my credits by cargo missions. I like to try to get things in front of me or behind me. I mean, in front of me or beside of me, not behind me. So we've got two. That's not real good. Might come on this other side. Just work our way to the other side. I have been interdicted once by a security force. I don't know if he was rogue or said he needed to inspect my ship, but they can inspect my ship anytime at the station. So I didn't give in to that either. And we'll have to watch this yellow-orange one more than the security forces, because very rarely do they interdict. Sis left.
Delay C, Romeo Golf, India. Station
Incoming
services are
mission
on
critical
standby for
message.
your arrival, Commander. Good to have you. Okay, Commander. Proceed to landing pad 03. You are go for automated docking. Enjoy the ride, Commander.
I do appreciate you coming along. Hopefully you'll come along on more of our videos. But this is how I do it. Now, I'm not saying it's the best way to do it. It's just what works best for me, and you have to find out what works best for you. There's many of you that are far greater at asteroid mining than I am. And if that works for you, then you can make good credits that way too.
Landing gear deployed.
I'm not as good as subsurface asteroid mining and especially deep core asteroid mining.
Roger, Commander. You are clear to leave when ready.
Touchdown sequence complete. You may disembark when ready. You're all checked in, Commander. Enjoy your visit.
sys right, and just check to make sure I have delivered all of them, which we have, and we have crossed that 9.7. So we'll get back out to Sothis mining, and that'll conclude this video. Sys left. Like I said, I believe I have more than enough for beta 2. And I would have a lot more if I didn't spend as much as I did on the fleet. Spent about $2 billion over the last couple of weeks on the cutter fleet. Is this up? Please consider donating. You'll see that in the description at the bottom of it. It would really help us out now.
Landing gear retracted.
Detach is good. Regulate speed until outside the exclusion zone.
And go to our YouTube channel where you'll get to see over 600 additional videos.
Frameshift drive charging.
Like I say many times, I must be a crazy person for creating 600 videos in just 4 months.
4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
I also have over 2,400 hours played in Elite Dangerous in just like 10 months. So I'm sure many people think I'm a crazy person. Yeah, we got another interdictor possibly. Yep, so we do. Because he's letting us know that he's coming after us. Which I appreciate the heads up. So we prepare ourselves for it. We have no cargo on board, but we do have the stacked cargo contracts, and that's enough to bring them after us. If there was an easier way for me to make the credits, I would probably do the easier way, but there's really not. It's like Bahrain or someplace like that the miners go where there's double and triple hot spots, and they seem to be able to do real well outside the bubble. But I can usually do a third of what the good miners can do. But again, I only do surface mining. I don't do subsurface and deep core. Because I haven't been able to get those mining tools to work as well for me. And yes, I haven't put in the effort that some of you have, and so of course you're going to be better at it than me. I put more of my effort into delivering cargo missions, but when I get to 18 billion before purchasing the fleet carrier, or 10 billion after purchasing it, I can probably slow down a little bit. Usually 10 billion will get you the latest content that comes out, and have plenty for upgrades. You gotta think about those upgrades too, like with the fleet carriers. Get my speed adjusted here. Sys left. lost my train of thought. But I do think if I can keep 10 billion after spending on fleet carriers, then I feel like I'm doing pretty good. So I need about another 8 billion right now by the middle of June. And then I'll feel pretty good. But even if it goes into July or August, I think we're still good. We just want it before December, because if all that content shows up in December that we're expecting, we certainly would like to have at least 10 billion at the time. Now, the leaker says it will be a DLC, so it takes real money, just like Horizon did, to purchase that content. And that's what we're expecting. Is this left?
Docking request granted.
Almost waited too late. You wait too late and someone gets your landing pad. But we'll end this video as soon as we dock and go into the hangar. And then be sure to watch the next video where we add another 100 million to 9.8.
Landing gear deployed.
So I'll grind about another 100 and then we'll start a video again. Now I have a busy day today, so it's possible it could run over 100 million before I can get to a video.
Docking successful. Engines disengaged.
Is this right? Okay. Well, thank you for coming along where we crossed that 9.7 billion mark. I really appreciate you watching the video, and be sure to press that subscribe button if you haven't already, and thank you for all of those that have. And underneath the video in the description, please consider donations. No amounts too small. And underneath the video to the left is a YouTube channel page, GFM_RDG, where you can watch 600 more videos that were created just in the last 4 months as the publication of this video. So, just a reminder, in one more day, the snapshot will be taken for Beta 2. So, if you're trying to prepare for that, make sure you get to the credits that you're shooting for. I believe I am there, but never hurts having a few more. So until next time, thank you for watching.